Are we rolling? I think we're rolling. How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another episode. All right, there we go. So today's episode and today's live stream and today's question, we're going to be talking about the weather. That's right. You already know. We talk about anything here. But honestly, this is like one of my most requested questions. You know, one of my most requested things to talk about. And it's the weather here in Merida in particular. Now, again, I want to emphasize that where I live is in the Yucatan Peninsula. I live, basically close to Cancun. I live all the way on the furthest edge of Mexico as humanly possible. So, in fact, let's see if we can pull it up on the map just so you guys can, get a better idea of, what we're talking about here. I'm going to show you guys in a second. I didn't even think about pulling up the map. But, definitely going to have to... I'm going to need to show you guys in order to add, more context to the situation here. Okay? Okay. All right. There we go. Boom. There's the map. So, as you guys can see there from the map of Mexico, there we go. Let's zoom in a little bit. I am all the way over here where it says Merida. All right? All the way over there. You see? On the farthest away tip. All right? All the way in the tippy tip. All right? Just the tip. Okay? That's where we are. All right? So it's very different, all right, than the other parts of Mexico. As you guys know, the other parts of Mexico, they're mostly famous for their weather, their hot weather, the desert weather. Well, that's all the way up in the north, all right? As you guys can see from the map, the Google map, you can see all the desert in the yellow. So the weather's very different up there, and you see all the way down here, again, in Merida, where we are right now. The reason you're watching this video, okay, it's all the way down south, and it's very green, dark green. In fact, dark green, just like you would see in Cuba or Miami or Louisiana and what have you. But obviously, we're further south, and yes, it does make a difference in the weather. And for me, originally, I am from Miami, Florida. As you guys know, very hot, very warm and humid and all that stuff out there. And yet, I prefer the weather here in Merida. I feel like it's just, more agreeable. It's just like just way better. And we're going to go into that, all right? So I actually got, a little homework I did here, a little graphs. All right, but let's just stick with the weather right now, because I'm sure you guys are curious right now what the weather is right now. So this is what the weather is like literally right now. You guys can see it there, and it says, hold on a second. There you go. It says 98 degrees. All right, that's like right now, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, and the humidity is 33%. It's actually getting a little humid at the moment, but the last few days was not as humid. But the last few days it was like 101 degrees. All right, 101. All right. Okay. And as you guys can see, as the week progresses, we're going to be going from 97, 95. These are the highs. Okay. 97, 95. So it's cooling down. It's actually going to cool down a little bit as some rain rolls in. Okay. I'm guessing these are still some of these cold fronts that are hitting, the other parts of the USA and the north. So as you can see, it's like in the low 90s. Now, I know for a lot of you guys, this is very hot. For me, this is hot, but it's nice. I mean, it's hot. It's hot, but it's not insanely hot. Insanely hot would be in the hundreds with high humidity. And so far, we're just getting into the 90s. Low 90s. High 80s. All right, now let's just look into it let's go into context, okay? So let's look at the average weather. All right, I'm gonna have to move my head here. 1 second. Just move over here. Let's just stick here for a minute. Let's not go too far away. See, isn't that cool? I can go anywhere. Look at that. Here, let's just do that, all right? Anyways. So this is the average weather for the year, as you guys can see here, all right? So right now we're starting April, and see the weather. See, we're on average. It's an average of 97 degrees with a low of 70. And that's the thing. That's what I want to emphasize, right? That's what I think is like one of the very most important things about the weather here is the lows. if you look at a place like Miami, the low is not 70 degrees. The low is like 80 something degrees with a lot of humidity. And other areas that are very swampy and very humid tend to be. You know, if you go to like Thailand, if you go to some of these areas in Southeast Asia, it's just all day, every day, hot and humid. You know, meaning all year it's 97 degrees, you know, average, and all year it's, you know, like 90% humidity. But not here. Not here. Again, as you guys can see here, right now, April, all right, just like you guys can see, March, February, January, it's all the dry season. The dry season. Okay, there's no rain. I gotta water my garden every single day because the intense heat with no water kills all the plants. Trust me, I've already been dealing with that. It's very difficult. But after this month is over, we're about to start hitting the rainy season. And as you guys can see from the weather, as it changes, okay, from May, it gets hotter. In fact, May is the hottest month. We're entering the hottest months right now, okay, which is basically April, May. You know, so March, April, May. End of March, all of April, all of May, tends to be the hottest because by the time we get to June and July, it starts to cool down again. And why does it cool down? Well, simply because it starts the rainy season. You know, June, July, August, September, October, which is also hurricane season, okay? So it all culminates, right? And what does a rainy season mean? It doesn't mean that it's raining every day. No. Remember, we're in paradise here. Let's not forget that, guys, okay? So what it means is that it's a very predictable weather pattern that happens throughout the year. Okay, I mean, throughout the rainy season, meaning it is, okay, so the day starts off immediately. As soon as the sun comes out, it's hot, and it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter and progressively more humid as the day goes on. By the time we get to like around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, somewhere around there, you can see it. It's one of those, you can't predict it on the phone, on the clock. You can predict it by looking outside. Anyways, eventually you start seeing the clouds, you start seeing everything start getting dark, everything starts cooling down, and before you know it, it's torrential rains. Like it starts raining like, I don't know, inches, okay? Many inches. I'm trying to see like the best way to predict it. Like, I mean, look, you can see it there. Rainfall in inches, you know, 5, okay, inches, okay? But to me, I don't know how this is kind of like measured. I don't know if it's like at one time or not, but it rains a lot. And in some areas, it can flood. But the flooding, again, it all depends. So for example, it can rain it rains a lot all over the city, right? But in my area, I got the drain, the major drain for the block is right in front of my house. So guess what? I'm constantly making sure that drain is clean, okay, at all times. Doesn't matter, all right, even during the dry season, all right? Why? Because I don't want that to get clogged up as soon as it starts raining. Now, as soon as it starts raining, it might rain, like I said, like, I don't know how many inches this is. Many inches, okay, like 12 inches. I don't know, a lot. It's a lot, okay? And so it rains a lot, okay? And once all that rains, you know, accumulates, it can't drain fast enough. So it takes a little bit of time to drain. So even though I got an amazing drainage system, it can flood. Again, it never gets in the home ever, you know, at least in my home, the way my home was built and the way, you know, I got my situation here, it never comes into the home, but it floods. It gets crazy, you know, scary for a minute until it stops. And by the way, it rains for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, depends. During the rainy season, it's usually done within an hour. But anyways, it rains really quick, it floods really quick, and then it drains really quick. So within an hour after the rain, it's all gone. Now, if in your neighborhood you don't have good drainage, you don't maintain your drain system, you don't do, you know, any of the maintenance that needs to be done, well, then guess what? You're probably going to not just flood, but it's going to continue to stay with, you know, all that water, all that flooding, all that whatever, okay? So remember what we're doing with what I tell you about living in Mexico, where everyone is responsible for your everything, your neighborhood, you cannot expect the city or the government or any entity out there to come and clean the drains or maintain any of these things. No, you got to do it, and that's it. So for me, it's easy because it's right in front of my house, so I do it. You know what I mean? I just do it. You know what I mean? I'm not stupid. I've lived in my, you know, in this weather my whole life. So to me, you know, living in Merida is no big deal. This weather is no big deal. So I've learned from experience, from many years of living in tropical weather. And so for me, I just take care of it. But again, even people that have lived here their whole lives, they still get lazy, and they still, they're still, they'll just fail to do the basics, and that's where those areas flood. Now, there's other areas that tend to flood, okay, and those areas are in some of the central areas where the drainage, it's just the whole drainage system, the whole sewer system has failed to keep up with the growth because it's hundreds of years old in some cases, or it just doesn't, it hasn't been maintained properly, whatever. So in certain areas it might flood more and it might be a bigger deal than in other areas. I live in an old neighborhood as well, but out here it's all maintained, everything's fine. In some of the newer areas, I've heard that they flood as well because when they built some of the newer areas, and again, this is caveat emptor, you gotta go out there and figure out which are those areas, because it's not all the new areas, it's just certain areas they just flood. And why? Well, because in some areas where they made a lot of these developments, what happens is here, let me just go full screen for 1 minute. Anyway, so in a lot of these major developments, what's happened is that when they've built out, they, like the land goes, up and down, up and down, in fact, like the graph, okay? So, and if your home happens to fall into one of those dips, well, guess what? When it rains, it's all going to pull up in that area. And this is not just in the new developments. This also happens like in villages and pueblos, and it just happens. It's just part of living here. So that's why a lot of people, they really, really, really try their best to build on some sort of like hill or a little bit of an elevation, or even build a strong or heavy foundation. So again, like here, out here it's flat in my neighborhood. In some areas it kind of moves around in the city, but in this area it's very flat and low. But guess what? It doesn't matter. The house, the ones that built it way back in the day, they built it very smart. So they built it at an incline. They got to go all these measures so that even in times when it has rained insane, because it happens, it's just the tropics, it like to an insane amount. We're like, oh my God, Chris, look, I think it's coming in the home. It never does, and it comes so close, and it's like, wow. Where other people, they get flooded and they get water in their homes, and they get situations like that. So it really just all depends. Again, we're talking about Merida Yucatan here. We're not talking about other parts of Mexico. I don't know what other parts of Mexico are weather-wise. We're just talking about here for the minute. So anyways, so we got the rainy season. And again, it varies. This is just the average, right? Let's not forget that, okay? So really, it starts to rain, by next month. This month is still going to be dry. I see that it's going to rain. I actually got to do laundry. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the situation. But I know that right now, it's still some of these cold fronts that are coming through. It's not that, major rain or torrential rain. Because really what happens when it comes to the weather, when it comes to like the rain and stuff like that, is that it gets so hot so quickly that you can fry an egg on the street. So it's just like anything else. It builds up all this hot and humid humidity in the clouds, and then eventually those clouds get so big and juicy and they just burst, and then all that water just basically comes down, okay, at the same time on this very hot surface, and then it creates this hot humidity. All right. And again, in places like Miami or Louisiana, it's way worse than it is here. Here, it's temporary because by the time that nighttime comes along, the weather drops. The weather gets cool. Again, I know 70 degrees is not cool to you. It's cool to people that live in this area. I know 64 degrees is not cold weather, but that's winter weather out here, and it's cold. And if it gets even colder, if it gets even lower than that, it's even colder. But again, I know people right now, literally some of my friends that are in the snow right now as you guys are watching this, okay? And I'm out here with, again, let's go back, what is it? It's 98 degrees. Okay, 98 degrees, and some of you guys are like in 98 feet of snow, Bruh. So anyways, let's get back to this. So the rainy season culminates with the hurricane season. So basically, once that's over, which is again October, November, all right. Really, the rainy season is from June, July, August, September. That's really the rainy season. After that, it just starts diminishing. It's just regular, weather patterns that kind of just, make their way through the thing. And then by the time we get to November, again, December, January, February, March, no rain. It's just a dry season, and that's it. And so like during the winter, it dries up. And so that's when it cools down, because we get every time that there's like a cold front coming from up north, from Canada, USA, whatever. Then they make their way all the way down here, and we get the last bits of the cold front. Then that cold front brings a little bit of rain, a tiny bit of rain, and then cold weather, like a cold snap. And then depending on the severity of that front, that weather front will be depending on the severity of the cold weather. And then again, late November, and then December, January, February, and then March all the way to the end of March. It's beautiful weather. Every once in a while, especially like, March, you start feeling the heat. It starts coming back up, but it's gradual. And then by the time the end of March, and then definitely April, the heat comes and it hits you like it punches you right in the face. And then that's it. And then from here on in, it's hot, like crazy hot until we get to June. And then once you get to June, we get some relief, which is kind of crazy. You would think in the summer it's even hotter. But again, it just really all depends on what you're used to. For some people, the summers out here are unbearable. But I think for me, honestly, after being here for 5 years, spring is the hottest and most unbearable month. Part of the year for me, because summer is amazing. It's beach weather, man. It's beach, pool, barbecue weather, and you're in paradise. Come on, it's like the best, and I love it. And then we get fall, which is again you can still kind of go to the beach, but you gotta hurry up because it's almost over, and then it starts cooling down, and then boom, winter. It cools down again. It cools down, you know what I mean? It doesn't get cold. No snow, none of that crazy stuff, all right? Like I said, 64. That's the max, all right? It dips into the high 50s maybe, all right? If we're lucky. But that's it. You know what I mean? Bring out the hot cocoa, you don't have to put on the air conditioner. You're good to go. And then that's it. And then by the time, winter's over and spring starts, it's like, again, as soon as spring starts, it gets crazy hot, and then you start going to the beach or putting out, going to the pool, and then realizing, oh my God, it's still freezing. The water's still freezing, but you already know that summer's right around the corner, and in a few months, in a few weeks, I can go to the beach, and it's nice and warm, and outside is nice and hot, and it's just, again, beach, summer weather, all that. So to me, I love it. And the beach is not that I like living in the city here. This is, Merida, this is the city, and then, the beach is like just a drive away. But that's basically what the weather pattern is, you know what I mean? So, right now, this is the weather, you know what I mean? These are the next few days of weather here. We're looking at, again, 98, 97, 95, 92, 87. You see how it dips down with the rain and so on and so forth. But look at that. We're still in 69s in the middle of the night. You feel me? Like, that's why, again, I have the air conditioner turned on when I go to sleep, but eventually I just, turn it off because it gets cold, and that's it. So I think that this video has been going long enough. I don't know what else to say about the weather here, you know what I mean? So let me go through the comment section for a quick minute and see what's up. But anyways, before I do that, like I said, it's funny because to a lot of people, I show them the weather and this is insane for them. This is too hot for them. And for me, this is just right. And for some people, this is perfect weather. But for some people, they cannot handle this weather. But to me, it's like this is the price of living in paradise. If you want to have the beach, if you really want to have the beach and like go to the beach every day and that, listen, it has to be hot. I don't know what the hell people are thinking. Who wants to go to a cold beach? You might as well live in Seattle for that. You know what I mean? Or live in Portland, Oregon. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? And again, by the way, there are many parts of Mexico with many beaches. You can go out to the West Coast. You can go to Acapulco, Baja California, whatever. And it's nicer, milder, colder weather, whatever, if that's what you like. But for me, right now, with 98 degrees, I go on the beach, water, and it's still too cold for me. Where every one of you guys is complaining about the heat, you go in the water and it's perfect for you. So that's the thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, we all have different tolerances when it comes to weather and all that stuff. So let's just keep that in mind. Okay, let's see. It's too hot, green and that is always, okay, let's see. Everyone's complaining it's too hot. That's funny. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. Look, honestly, like the point is I want to, let you guys know, you know what I mean? And because a lot of you guys really do wonder what the weather really is like. And it's interesting because I don't even bat an eye when it comes to the weather. For me, this is perfect weather. Because if you look at the actual weather patterns in Florida, for example, where I'm from, it's just so much hotter and more humid. And out here, at least there's a break. As soon as the sun goes down, it cools down. It's windy. Again, that's what like some parts of the year, like again, next month, what really makes it extra hot is the fact that there's no wind. But throughout the year, there's like nice breeze, ocean breeze that comes from the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just a constant breeze, and it's always breezy. It's breezy right now, and of course, the hotter it gets, you get a hot breeze, but it's still a breeze. It's better than no breeze because, again, trust me, no breeze is way worse. So I don't know. Again, it all depends. So let me see. Let me see what you guys got in the comment section. Where you guys look at the weather thing there. Teresa says, I moved to Louisiana to get away from the cold. Imagine my annoyance when winter started to get down in the 20s. Yeah, exactly. And it snowed for a week. Get out of here. Really? It snowed in Louisiana? That's crazy. I didn't even know that. 3 years ago. Can't wait to get... Yeah, there's never any snow here. Never going to snow here. And by the way, I mean, who knows what's going on with the planet, but it seems like it's getting colder. But again, who knows? Long story short, I like the heat. I prefer... the weather patterns out here, and no matter what happens, we got the beach. Even if it does get warmer, hotter, a hotter world, hey, you can always cool off here. So let me see. There's a nice thing about Hawaii, year-round 72 to 88. That's nice, yeah. Yeah, Hawaii has nice weather. And, I mean, you guys are in the middle of the ocean, too, so... Yeah, Hawaii is awesome. Okay. It's like Evincia says, yes, it's too hot, but I like it. It's been 2 months. I've been 2 months in Merida. I'm from Montreal. Very cool. Oh, awesome, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and it's going to get hot. So you came out here at a perfect time, where you came out here last month as it, was cooling down and it's starting to warm up, and you're going to start feeling the brunt of the warmth. And, if you can make it through this year, you'll see. You'll be able to make it every year. You'll be fine. Tamara says she was in Playa del Carmen and got sunburned because she didn't gauge when it was time to leave the heat. Yeah, so that's another thing too. That's actually a good point you bring up. So the sun out here is more intense than it is basically anywhere else that I've been in the U.S., which is kind of crazy, because if you look at where we are here in relative to Miami or Florida or whatever, and it's not that far, but yet something about the earth, the curvature, I don't know, whatever, science, it's just more intense here. And in other parts of Mexico, it's even more intense, even though it's cold. In a lot of parts of Mexico, people are in the mountains and it's cold, but you're even closer to the sun. So, but out here in Merida, I guess we're just closer to the sun. But yeah, the sun out here is more intense. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a reason why the sun is more intense here than in the USA. I don't want to get into all that. But anyways, the long story short is that, yes, because it is more intense, you will tan. It happens to me all the time. I only got to be outside for like 15 minutes, and I start to tan, which I do regularly. Anyways, so... Not so much, but whatever. It's good to get some vitamin D, get the sun, But anyways, long story short, it doesn't take as long to tan. It doesn't take as long to get your full dose of vitamin D. It doesn't take as long, to burn and all that stuff. So you have to be extra careful if you are of fair skin, or even if you're not of fair skin, but you're just not used to this intense weather, sun-wise. Remember, sun is intense. Because I remember when I lived in Seattle, I would never see the sun. I would see the sun like, once every 3 months. No, once every 3 months. I wish. Once every 6 or 7 months, or something like that. Whatever. Anyways, never. We'd never see the sun. All right. Once a year, twice a year, for a little bit of time. All right. Anyways, and I remember, going, it was the opposite effect where when the sun first came out, and you would go out and see the sun, and like, oh, you can't even look outside, and you know, your eyes start to water, and you can't even see the sun, and it's so intense, and it's just it's crazy. So we're out here, it's the complete opposite effect, literally the opposite effect. So where the sun is so intense that, you know, you have to protect yourself. All right, so yes, that's a great point you bring up there. So, but anyways, all right. So with all that being said, I think we covered this topic thoroughly enough, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video talking about the weather out here in Merida. Now, I'm gonna be back in like 5 minutes, as you guys already know. 1 second. Let's. Okay, as you guys already know, come to my YouTube page right there. All right, and on my YouTube page, go to the next question. The next question is going to be best options to learn immersive Spanish in Mexico. So go there. I'll be there like in around a few minutes, 5 minutes, give or take, and we're going to answer that question. And we're going to keep rolling. And if you want to ask me a question, if you want to find out how you can ask me a question for me to answer, please just click on the link that I provide in the description of this video, in the comment section, in the chat, everywhere. Okay, and it'll take you straight to my webpage. It's going to take you straight here, actually, to be more specific, straight here. And it's gonna be me wearing the same shirt. Jesus. Anyways, do I have any other? I need money for clothes. Anyways, so bruh. Anyways, it's gonna show you, you know, me in the same T-shirt, explaining to you how all this works, where you guys can, you know, send me a inquiry to answer a question or talk about a certain topic, and I will do that for you, you know, and that's it. So, all right, guys, thanks again for watching this episode, and I'll see you guys in 5 minutes in the next episode, in the next live stream, where we answer the next question, all right, talking about Spanish. All right, see you later. See you in a few minutes.